Nagatsi hinu chad kishtik ang. My Haida name is Fox. Dang esh digudnailagang. I'm happy to see you. Welcome to this week's edition of Haida Language and Etymology. Today we're going to be talking about pronouns, some basic Haida grammar, and past, present, and future tenses. Ayat juyai tlatskagang. Today the sun is strong. We're going to be learning how to talk a little bit about our environment and stuff. And if you follow along in this video, you should be able to appreciate some of the folklore we're going to be reading and pick up different phrases as we go along. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are the Haida pronouns. So we're going to talk about I, you, and he and she, we, and y'all, or you folks, and how we would basically talk about those phrases and words. And we're going to be using some examples I have of each one and the focused versions of each. So our first pronoun is going to be the pronoun for I. Now, in Haida, you're going to hear D, like D goodnight, stuff like that a lot. D is me. It's usually me or my, so it's a possessive pronoun. But if you want to say I, we say now that's that HL sound that we talked about in previous videos. You just want to put your tongue behind your top front teeth, like so, and blow air out without voicing. It makes almost an English SH sound. So it sounds like or the focused version of is shla, shla. So it sort of flows together like that. One example of that would be hidangang. I'm gathering bark. Hidangang. A focused version of that would be slaunangang. I'm playing. Slaunangang. The u is a focus phrase. It's indicating that the subject of the sentence is sla, me, myself, right? Slaunangang. Our next word is you. In Haida for you, we say dang. The focused version is da. So we have dang tahegang. You are doing some weaving. Tahegang. So dang tahegang. And we have daugatagang. You are eating. Daugatagang. So the word for eat would be gata, and gang is the present tense we're going to be talking about. But daugatagang, okay? For she, he, or they, we all use one pronoun for those words, okay? And that is hal. The focused version of hal is la. So look out for these. We have hal skunstijang. He's blowing his nose. Hal skunstijang. And we have glau chanilgang. Glau chanilgang. He's drinking water. Okay? Notice that when we use the focused word, we typically use u with it. If we want to say we say talang. Talang, right? Focus on that, the accent where it's written talang. An example of that would be talang takidang. Talang takidang. We're doing some carving. You folks is how dalang is usually translated, but I grew up in the South and we tend to say y'all a lot. So if you're looking for a word for y'all in Haida, it would be dalang, wouldn't it? Here we have, our example is dalang usangang. Usangang. You folks are coughing. Dalang usangang. Okay? So those are basically our pronouns, and before we move on, I want to address gender in Haida and how the way we use language surrounding gender, like he and she, can sometimes frame the way that we think about gender, right? So hal is a gender neutral term, and we know that there are in various cultures third genders, right? Neither male or female, somewhere in between or fluctuating between the two, right? In anthropology, we would use the word berdash to describe a third gendered person, kind of traditionally, but that word is considered offensive by many indigenous people today. But if you look up berdash in our Haida dictionary, you will find that there is a two-spirit gender in Haida culture, and so two-spirit is refers to the dual gender identity, okay? So the word for two-spirit in Haida, which I found, is actually kadhan, okay? And that I wanted to include that and make sure we talk about that because I felt like it might be relevant to transgender or non-binary individuals in the indigenous community. And it's just something of cultural significance that we don't want to lose, okay? So Haida two-spirit word is kadhan, all right? So let's take a step to the side here and talk a little bit about sentence structure. In Haida, we tend to use a modifier followed by a subject and then a predicate. So I'm going to show you a few little example sentences of this right here. So make sure that we pay attention to our pronouns. We've got hal in each of these. So the first one is Hawan hal shangulang. He is still working. So Hawan means still. So essentially our first sentence says, still he is working, okay? So that's how Haida grammar tends to sound. Instead of saying he is still working as we would in English, we're saying still he is working. So thinking about it that way will help you pick it up, and eventually it will be second nature if you practice. It's one of those things you just hear and get more used to. Our second example is Hausan hal shahangulang. He's working again. Hausan again. Hal shangulang. And then Tlan hal shangulang. He stopped working, okay? If I butcher any pronunciation, just bear with me because some of these you can trip over pretty easily. Let's move on to our tenses. These are actually pretty straightforward and easy to remember. We have past, present, and future. For the past, we would say gun. For present, we'd say gung. And the future, we say sung, okay? So these are suffixes, and they will tend to be attached to the end of verbs. So our day for yesterday, today, and tomorrow, for yesterday and tomorrow are the same word. It's a time that is not now, right? That word is a dash. So I can be saying yesterday a dash, or I can be saying tomorrow a dash, and you'll figure that out based on context in the sentence. And today is ayat, today. So let's go over some sentences using these terms and we'll get familiar with them. For present tense, if we want to talk about it, it's raining today, okay? Today it is raining is effectively what we're saying. We say ayat go'ogung. Ayat go'ogung. You see the present tense at the end of go'o? That is what tells us that it's happening now. Ayat go'ogung. If it rained yesterday, we say adash go'ogun. Gun, the past tense suffix. So when we see a dash, we know it means yesterday because at the end of go'o we have gun. All right? A dash go'ogun. Yesterday it rained. And then for the future we say a dash go'o sung. Tomorrow it will rain. So we know that adash means in the future because there is sung at the end of our word, right? Adash go'osung. Tomorrow it will rain. So in general, if we're using simple sentences, it's just going to be subject followed by predicate. So I have a few different examples with the different pronouns, and we're just going to move through these and maybe talk about ourselves, talk about others, and figure out how this all works here. Our first sentence is I am gathering bark. We say that like gidangang. Gidangang. I am gathering bark. You are doing some weaving. Dang tahegang. Dang tahegang. So, you doing some weaving. The present tense is on the end. Gang, right? Right now. If we said dang tahegan, that would be past tense, right? You were weaving. But because it says gang, we are weaving right now. So we have she's coming in. Hal katsang. Hal katsang. He is blowing his nose. Hal skunstijang. Hal skunstijang. We are doing some carving. Talang tak irang. Talang tak irang. And you folks are coughing, or y'all are coughing. Dalang kusangang. Dalang kusangang. Kusangang. All right. So that's basically it. If you need to look at these, feel free to go back and forth in the video. Next time we're going to be looking at diphthongs, digraphs, and Haida pronunciation. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell. Haustang king sang, the managan kingu. I'll see you again.